Okay. Welcome, Hermana Beti, to this discussion where I'm so grateful for you taking the time to talk a little bit about the Paco tradition and the lineage with people that maybe have heard of it before, maybe have not heard about it at all, but are curious, are interested, and would want to learn more and know where to start. So I thought the best place to start in an introduction discussion is just kind of who you are. So folks that are watching this video likely know who I am, Teresa Mateos. And I teach, I'm a Nusta Paco, a femme healer, and also a clinical social worker, which again, most people watching this will already know. But I'd like to learn a little bit more about you for the people viewing, where you're from, what is your background, where you grew up. And I'm interested because I know that you did study before you came on the Paco path, kind of what you studied and how that led you to the Paco path, and then the Inca Medicine School, which is the school I studied at, which you are both a teacher and a beautiful translator for.
Good evening, Sister Teresa. It's nice to see you this evening, and thank you for inviting us on the name of the school where you study at the Inca Medicine School. My name is Beti. My name is Beti Tuero, no? And I am originally from Cusco, from the capital of the Inca civilization in Peru. And my family is from south, from the Colla Suyo. And I am a teacher in the school, in the Inca Medicine School. And originally I started to explore with sacred plants since I was a very teenager. I tried some sacred plants as Huachuma, that it's growing here in Cusco. And this helped me to understand the beauty of the Pachamama and to feel her spirit. It was very beautiful. And after that, I have the calling to work with children. I studied for being a teacher of children. I work in that also some years, but then I had the invitation from a friend to go to United States and to also work there. I was living there, and I was working as regular works, basic works, and then I had the calling. I had really the calling in a spiritual retreat. I had some friends from India, and I actually went to a temple, and in Hinduist temple, and they showed me how to meditate. And I was meditating like 2 days consecutively, and I start off. I have a big sadness, and I started to, I think, awakening and really feel that my path, it was here in the mountains, that the mountains were calling me, and that I was just maybe being forced to be in the United States, and I didn't feel right. And then is where I decided to come back. And of course, I learned English there in the United States. And when I was here, I only wanted to be in the Sacred Valley, in the mountains, in nature. I didn't want to be in the city anymore. And I continued my studies in art. I also studied art. And I was doing that work and also working in spiritual retreats. There is where I learned many things about sacred plants, but also I started to work with the Pacos from the Andean tradition. They are there. I understood that there are different kind of healers from the coast, from the Andes, and also from the jungle. And there is where I met the family Apaza. And I was translating, and then I tried to go deeper with my education, and I was studying a master's degree in cultural heritage. And there I learned to appreciate all the beauties of the textiles, the architecture, and also the dances, the typical dances that they are holding, the wisdom of the Andean culture. And there I also was teaching here in an institute to students of tourism. I was teaching about this Cosmovision, Andean Cosmovision, and also Amazon Cosmovision. And I was reading some books, but I noticed that the real wisdom, it was not in books, it was not in what the history says, because the history shows the information twisted, because the interests of politics or maybe government or previous Spaniards invasion, no? And there is where I decided to work more with the Pacos, and also maestros invited me to work with them for translating and also to open the Inca Medicine School. And I was very happy, and I was like, oh, this is finally my path is opening, and yeah, this is finally where I feel happy and safe, and I feel that I'm doing the right things. And I was like, yes, sure, let's do it. And since then we are working together with the family Apaza in the Inca Medicine School.
That's a beautiful journey. And I think it's also a story that many people that I've met in the United States can understand. This, kind of going to school and trying to look for the information, kind of wanting to understand sometimes either our own traditions or just the traditions that have been maybe lost to us over time. And I speak with so many people, especially younger people in the United States, who say, I tried to learn it at school, but the wisdom I was looking for wasn't in those books. There was information written about maybe culture, written about maybe the people I came from, but it wasn't really the teachings and the wisdom of the practices. And I think what's beautiful is that not every, what's sad is that not every culture is preserved so that you can find the teachers still, but what I think is beautiful in the Apaza lineage and in the Inca Medicine School is really that there is the wisdom of those generations, the stories and the tradition being shared, through story, through talk, not in the books, not necessarily written anywhere at all, that it's still alive, that it's still there to be shared. And I think for myself, and I'm sure many other students of the school, is gratitude, right? To find somewhere where ancient tradition is still being remembered and still being taught in a way that was passed down from every generation. So for people that want to know a little bit more, you spoke a little bit about you mentioned the Andean Cosmovision, which I really love the way that you speak to that. But I'd love to give people kind of an idea of what the Paqo path is, who is called to be a Paqo, and what is that what does the lineage look like, the big picture of the lineage in terms of that Andean Cosmovision, that ancestral teaching.
Well, first of all, Andean Cosmovision is like the way how the people here, they look to the universe, no? They understand the universe. And here in the high communities, yes, they are keeping this way to see it, this philosophy is a way of living. They are keeping that, even if now it's very difficult to maintain because the influence of cell phones and radio, TV, and all these things, no? But what I learned from the family Apaza is that this wisdom, these Andean traditions or cosmovision is something that you live in the everyday life. Yes, a Paco, a healer, because the family Apaza is a family of a tradition of healers, shamans, no? This tradition of being a Paco, Pampa Mesayok, or Alto Mesayok, it's to be like the doctor of the community. It's like a profession, no? In a town, there is people who is gonna be just agriculture, taking care of agriculture, or taking care of construction, or maybe sewing, or maybe different activities, no? And one of these activities is also important part of the community to have a doctor. So the Paco Pampa Mesayok or Alto Mesayok, they are doctors. Doctors that when a person is not finding healing with drinking plants, or with just resting, they need to go to a specialist. So they go to a Paco to find a solution to bring back the balance in order to be okay again, because the diseases, problems, manifestation of diseases are the imbalance, no? And what a Paco does is bring back the balance into the body and solar energy, because for Pacos, they don't see the body as only the physical, they see it as physical and energetical and spiritual. So all that together have to be healed. So that is the main function of a Paco, and to be a doctor, a healer, and also a teacher, because in the way how they are healing to the people, they are also teaching how to be respectful with the whole Pachamama, with the whole universe, not only with nature around us, but is the whole relationship in between everything what is around us, no? Above, here, and inside, everything. That is what is to be a Pacua healer, and why people have to be in this path, no? Or when they have to be in this path. Well, there are two categories of Pacos. There are the Pacos who born with special abilities, and since they are little children, they have this calling and also kind of special powers. So they become in Alto Mesayoks. That means that they were chosen by the high spirits. And there are other group of people who they have a calling. They have the desire to help the community, to help friends, family, others. And then they start to do little things. Maybe some of them, they become in therapists. Some of them, they become in psychologists or other things. But if they have that calling of searching more deep, they find spirituality also a good way to do a holistic healing. And if there is this calling, yes, maestros invite to people to join and to be a Paco, a healer, a Paco Pampa Mesayok. That means it's a person who have that calling from here in this life. And then they have to learn from a proper maestro. They have to be guided. They have to go through certain initiations, and then they will have this beautiful work for the future, no?
Yes, I appreciate that description. I think, again, there's many people I meet to, they may go in to be a therapist or to be some other kind of medical professional, but they feel something's missing. I know I felt that for me. I felt, I learned kind of Western healing, Western mental health, mind healing, medicine, but it wasn't everything that I needed to do. I knew that there was another part of healing that I needed to do, and I knew I needed to find that teaching somehow, but it took me a long time to figure out where that was. But I know there's a lot of people that I've also met that they may have ended up in some field of medicine or mental health or helping people, but they feel they know there's something more there that they've been drawn to or called to. And so again, I think that's why it's so important when people know how they can find that path, how they can take the next step to actually learn, embrace, join into that part of themselves that may have always been there, but they didn't know they didn't really know what to do with it until they find the right teaching and the right teachers for them. So I think that is a beautiful gift of the Inca Medicine School and of the Pacos that are teaching in this way to people that are not just in the community, but also outside. And so speaking of that, I wanted to kind of give people an idea of the place and the space that Pacos live in, the community and the culture. And I don't know that everybody knows that there are still tribal culture and tribal lands, you know, in the mountains of the Andes. I think many people, same in the United States, people think, oh, Native Americans or indigenous people were from before. It doesn't exist anymore, right? But we know that, of course, it does. And there are many places where those cultures are still alive. And so I wondered if you could share a little, you know, it was beautiful for me to be able to come this past fall and be able to visit the Q'eros community and be in the sort of tribal lands, and where people speak more Quechua than they speak Spanish, which is the sort of ancestral language. But I wondered if you could share a little bit with people about Q'eros, about the Quechua language, the Quechua people, and about the sort of culture that the Pacos come out of.
Sure. There is the Quechua culture here, and they are called indeed the runas. No, they speak the runasimi. So this Quechua wisdom in south of Peru, in Cusco, it's alive. It's alive in the mountains, in the communities, not that much in the city, but in all the surroundings of the big city. Yes, there are many communities that speak Quechua, and south of Cusco, there are the Aymaras. The Aymaras, they share territory also with Bolivia. Bolivia is a big Aymara country. Many people there speaks the Aymara, and both languages and both people who speak this, they are preserving this way of living that is very beautiful, because it's a complete consciousness that everything is necessarily, everything works together, and we all cooperate with everything in the same level. No, it's not that humans, we are the best and we deserve the best and that's it. No, it's no, it's humans are part of a beautiful ecosystem where everything is important. Plants, animals, mountains, spirits, energies, the sun, the moon, and absolutely everything is important. Nothing is more or less. Everything have to work in balance, and then everybody has a good life, no? A happy life, or a very balanced life. So that is the main idea of living in harmony. There are some problems like right now in politics, and especially with some mines from different material. There are some gold mines, copper mines, and nowadays they found lots of lithium here. And when the government wants to come and wants to start working in the earth for taking out these resources, people is saying, no, for us, is our Pachamama, is our mother, and we need to follow certain procedures in order to take out these things from Pachamama. But people in the cities don't understand. No, people see this like a resource that is just a thing, and they don't care. But here people see it from the perspective that we have to open a body that is Pachamama, that she is also a being that is alive, and that we need to ask permission, and also we need to make sure that this is not going to create problems for the people and the animals and the nature and the apples, the mountains and the rivers and lagoons. everything is alive. So we cannot allow to do it just like that. No, it will be wonderful if people, especially in the Western world, because these companies are mostly from Western world, if they could understand and really work in cooperation instead of forcing people to do that. If they will understand that, then things will be easier. But sadly, people is just nowadays, the majority of people in the cities, in the capital in Lima, and people who is guided by the colonialism, it's searching for money, and they don't want to understand that there is a spirit behind. So with all these problems, political problems, we are noticing that yes, this philosophy is alive and is very strong, and many people is starting to take consciousness of this thanks to these problems, and also people from other parts of the world, that they are also consciousness as you, and I'm sure many other people, all our students also, they are very awakened and they understand. And we have the faith that the majority in the world is actually good people, and everybody, if they just understand a little bit more about the wisdom of the ancestral cultures and tribes, everything will be more easy and more peaceful. But sadly, it's just little groups of people who are with lots of money, are in charge of lots of big things. They don't understand, and well, we hope that one day they will understand, no?
Yes, and I think that's also why it's so important right now for people to remember that ancestral wisdom, the indigenous knowledge, is because that distance you talk about, it's true in anywhere in the world where, the cities get distance from the natural world, and colonization and capitalization and all of these things that make people want to move towards where they can get the most power or the most money, the fastest, make people forget, where they forget that ancient memory, forget that ancestral memory. And as you've said before, there's such a big difference. And again, this is true in the United States, right, as well as in Peru, but in Lima, there's still this kind of Spanish colonial mindset about how things should run, what that you can just go and take something, and that, as long as it's worth money, that it's okay. And this kind of forgetting of the ways, the ancestral ways and the indigenous ways. But I also agree. I think we're in a moment where more people, and maybe it's a younger generation or into the next generation, people are becoming more awake, and they want to be more aware and pay attention more. Maybe not those people that have the most money and have the most power right now, but hopefully over time that grows. And speaking of that, I was wondering if you could talk a little more to the sort of Andean cosmology. So the sort of three worlds that are the elements that make up our universe, our cosmos, and speaking to that kind of, we take from Mother Earth only what Mother Earth can give, the idea of Aini, or reciprocity, that's so important to how we hold the balance in the three worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure. So from the Andean culture, Andean tradition, that is actually the summary of the wisdom of many other cultures before. All that wisdom at the end is like a tradition that many people is applying. That is also like a way to see the world and everything around, and it's like where everything is absolutely interdependent. No, we all are depending of each other. So when we understand that we all complement each other, and we are all in relationship, like there's very, very many relationships, then we understand that if we do good actions, if we also are more like giving, then naturally we are going to receive. No, if we have good intentions, good actions, and always trying to keep the balance, then we will receive also good intentions, also good actions, and then also balance. So that is a healthy community. But in case if not, no, maybe people is like more selfish, more individualist, more like wanted to be alone and don't want to relate too much, or don't care, don't pay attention, then problems come. No, so the Andean philosophy is based in very important principles, as one of the most important one, that is the reciprocity. We call it in Quechua Aini. The Aini is a beautiful practice that maestros in the community and also many people is keep practicing even till now. For example, when they don't have enough people to build a house, it's a tradition that the neighbors, they have to come to help you to build the house. You are not going to call them or invite them. They will come naturally because they have this a commitment to help others, because they know that another day they will need the help of them. So that is reciprocity. I help you, you help me, and then we are in peace. It's the same with the elders. It's the same with people who doesn't have too much incomes. Everybody try to help each other. So there is a deep consciousness of that even when you ask them, they don't even notice. They don't know how to explain it. With maestros, it's like that. They just say it's like that, no? Because it's already printed in not only in the mind but the soul and everything. So there is a beautiful exchange of help. Even when you get lost in a community or something, people is like, come, sit, enjoy, serve yourself some coca leaves. You are not alone. Let me help you. So people is very in cooperation, and this is also in between different communities, and they are trying the best to keep these principles. But sadly nowadays there are many new ways, no? Like especially when they come to the city, actually is where they get corrupted kind of, and then they learn bad things. It's actually the city who is giving negative habits, and they go back to the communities with these bad habits, no? Because in the city the principles are to be smart than others, to be the best, to have more, and to be smart and make money fast, no? In Andean philosophy, we don't work with going fast. We respect the cyclicality, that everything has a cycle, and absolutely everything has a right time for growing or for manifesting in life, no? But nowadays everybody's running, no? Everybody wants things fast and a lot. But no, we respect what we see in nature. Nature is showing us and is the best teacher everywhere. And all this wisdom comes from the observation from nature, no? Like when you see when are the seasons, no? In the north, in Western world, you see more the seasons is winter, summer, and then everything is just perfect, no? But if you want to force to the land to grow many times and produce, not respecting the cycles, then of course land is wasted, is like tired and cannot give anymore. And that's what we are pushing, no, to the earth, to be exhausted, to be tired. And many people now talks about we are going to have problems with food, no? There's not going to be food. And so nature, Pachamama, is kind of saying, if you are going to still pushing, we are going to also push you to stop, because Mother Earth is not gonna wait for us to collapse, no? She's gonna give us some lessons, and then we will bring back the balance. That's what maestros, they always talk about. So these principles are because the way how they perceive the world is respecting to the 3 dimensions. The 3 dimensions are the upper world, that is like the sky, the sun, the moon, and the energies and beautiful spirits that are there. We call it Hanahpacha. Then we are here in another stage or realm where humans, plants, animals, mountains, apples, and also sacred spirits as the waters, the rivers, ocean, and all of them, we all exist. And also inside of the earth, or what is under, that is also another dimension that is helping also to move the energies in between these 3 levels. So there is like an exchange of energies that they allow us to have this life that we have here, no? And there is a balance. But if we also again move this and broken the balance, then of course problems, sickness, and catastrophes comes, no? So, and that is the wisdom that the Andean people and many of the cultures from different parts of the world, no, they share, and everything is about the observation and understanding of nature and the universe, no, because the teachings are there, but not only with the mind, but also with the soul and the heart. People is disconnecting, no, this unity that is, and then we are not understanding. Yes, science is growing, but our intuition and on our deep perceptions are blocked. So we cannot work like that. We need to start awakening again and seeing beyond of the material things in a holistic way.
Yes, I think again, we'll talk about in a second prophecy and sort of what is being called into the universe in this moment in time. But before that, just quickly, I wanted to ask, everywhere we see the influence over time of colonization, of the impact of that on cultures and on how cultures can get lost or diminished, or parts of it get lost over time. And I was wondering if you could speak a little to the ways in which, even in the mountains, even in the Andes, even in the places where the traditions are still being passed down, what you see, or what you all see, is the impact of colonization, of sort of the Spanish influence, even the Christian influence on the culture and the spirituality from the Andes.
Yes, this is from since the Spaniards they arrived here, there was a big chaos and a big try to kill all the values, no? Try to kill all the values in order to approve the colonization, no? They wanted to bring, they wanted to be owners with all the rights of all the resources and richness and even people, because in that time there was slavery, and the crown of Spain, they wanted to approve this, no? So they needed to show that the people that was living here was very wild, and they didn't have education, and that they didn't have understanding of the universe and anything, no? So they wanted to show as very wild, terrible people, and thanks to that, they were converting people in Catholics and believing in the Bible and in Jesus Christ. And sadly, the worst thing that happened is that they arrived, and Inquisition was in those times very like alive. And we know also that in Europe people suffer a lot from that, and we understand that this was in different places, but here was terrible, because that gave the opportunity to kill to the most wise people, wise teachers that they were living, because they were, of course, like saying no to these new beliefs and things like that, and immediately they kill them. So it was something terrible, terrible, similar to the Holocaust. It was something like very traumatic that we still are healing, because it's still in our family lines. It's something that it's very, very traumatic, and many people, even till just in the 90s, in the 80s, people still have that, like not being able to say no to the people who want to take advantage. We are talking about politicians, or maybe bosses, or maybe companies. We cannot say no. It's just recently that people is starting to get really tired. I think it's also related to the prophecies that we are gonna start sharing. And but even till the 70s, 80s, 90s, people was very, very traumatized, and saying just accepting and giving thanks for little things that were like very, very, very few things. Like, for example, in the 70s, there was a reform where one president, he gave the opportunity to give back the properties to the natives, instead to the of the big landlord and the big haciendas that usually they were descendants from the Spaniards, and they were having these big lands. And in that moment, when native people receive a piece of land, they were so happy and so blessed and then they started to have more principles and more rights. No, they had like more self-esteem. But this is just this was happening only in the 70s. It's just 40, 50 years ago, and everything is just new. All this new idea of freedom is just starting, because just not recently. It's just very few time ago. It's that it was everything very like lots of discrimination and very unfair things, like mostly people who has the rights for education. It was people descendants from the Spaniards, that they were mixing with the Spaniards, but the natives high in the mountains, they did not have rights for education. But actually, if we see it from a positive perspective, that is very good, because Maestro Alejandro Apaza, he always says to me, like I didn't read anything. All the wisdom I know, it's from my ancestors and the culture that I'm living. So this is actually excellent, because in that way they can keep their traditions. They didn't read it from Europe or from an influence from another part of the world. It's very authentic, no? So there are many customs and traditions that are like that, well kept, well protected, thanks to also that discrimination. So there are good things, bad things, that now we need to take it as very as kind of guns against the colonization, because now there is a big time of awakening. So this wisdom is alive in the mountains, but now with lots of problems, because it's not only the Catholics that now is the problem, or was in the past. Now there are new religions that are coming from different parts of the world. There are the Maranatas that come from Brazil, and they are very into against the practices, the spiritual practices. So they go to the very, very high towns, and they are sharing their books and things like that, and they are saying, we are not like Catholics. We don't drink alcohol, we don't drink coffee, and we are very like peaceful. And some people is like, yeah, I'm tired Catholics, they are very into alcoholism and they lie, and we are disappointed of that religion. Now we like this. So people is converting into that, and there are less and less people who do these practices. That's also why maestros, in their desperation, because the local people don't have too much the desire to learn from the ancestor wisdom, they are open to offer to other people from other parts of the world, that they are starting to have this calling and this desire to learn more and give value to this. And that's why also the school is trying to reach that area, that people know who have this calling.
So maybe that moves into the two next questions a little bit. So about prophecy, about the Pachacuti prophecy, the Incan prophecy, about what times we're living in and where the prophecy came from. If you could explain a little bit that. And then I think a little, maybe that also goes into the school and the Pacos calling, feeling that the teaching needs to go wider now, that this is a time in the world where more people need to learn the teaching, both because it's getting lost, in the high mountains, but also because of this time of prophecy. So if you could speak to those pieces.
Sure. And what is the prophecies? It's like a myth. There are not exactly proofs of where. It's like just people talking about a really deep hope that everybody holds. No, especially the grandpas and the grandmas. They have these stories, and they talk about that the Incas, they knew, they were reading the sky. They were also learning to predict the future in the sky. And before the Spaniards arrived, they could predict that the beginning of the end was starting to show up. So they say that reading the ancestors, the legends, the myths, they say that the Incas, they were reading the sky, and then they saw that some dark times will arrive. And this is normal because they understand that everything is in cycles, no? So they also were not focusing in fighting that much, something that it was already brighted in the sky, no? That's why many people, they say that the very wise people, and from the Incas, the most wise people, they went to the jungle and disappeared, or maybe went into another dimension or another spiritual world, no? And because they knew that that's it, of the good times, and then now dark times comes. These dark times were dark times with sadness, suffering, but also it was the closing of the communication with the spiritual world. It's like the spiritual world will say, not anymore. I'm not gonna exchange, interact with humans anymore. We are just gonna be in silence till this moment finish, because like everything is in cycles, this darkness is gonna have an end to, no? So some people, some studies, they say that it's 500 years. Some also shamans, they talk about 600, 500 years. They are in between like that. So since the 16th century till now, we have already the 500 years. So there are some predictions that some shamans, they say, some shamans from Q'eros, they ancient elders, they were talking about some signs of this happening. And one sign, it was like the recovering of the, or openness of the Coricancha, the temple of the sun in the main, in the center of the Cusco city, that it was one of the most important temples in Inca's time, that with the Spaniards, they built a church on top and they covered this. But just like 20, 30 years ago, one mayor, he decided to just open it. And now the building is exposed, is a museum now. And that is, for example, one sign. Other people talks about also natural disasters and a bit of chaos and lots of lost of the culture, no? And we are seeing that especially because social media and the influence of cell phones and internet, because internet is going deep in every little house, even in the high of the mountains. And it's, of course, what we receive in publicity and in all the impact of the globalization is money. Everything is based in money, and in having a very good education in university. And university, sadly, is also bringing the pushing things to the extreme in order to have a better economy, no? Like in agriculture, for example, if a person here goes to the university in agriculture, they are going to teach to use lots of pesticides, lots of different chemicals, and this is not good, and to over extract to the land. So actually, it's not the best to go to the university and have many degrees and things like that, no? So we are in this extreme, in this moment where we really need to change. And it's like we feel these times, this prophecy that says that it's going to come a new time. In this case, it's going to be a time of light is starting to show up. But some people says we are gonna, or some shamans, mostly the shamans, they talk about this. They say that it's gonna be lots of suffering because many people is gonna resist to change, because the light times are gonna come with lots of balance, lots of giving, reciprocity, lots of love, lots of beautiful things that many people is not used to it, or just don't want to do it because maybe it's going to be it's not going to bring incomes, no? And there is going to be resistance, and people who is going to resist, they are going to suffer a lot. But if people who they are resilient, like they have strength, and also they are open to adapt, and they are going to also open the consciousness and understanding, it's going to be a very soft change, a very soft getting used to these new times, and then everything will be more aligned, no? But it's going to be tough, mostly for people who is going to resist these changes. Well, this is a prophecy. We wish, we hope that really happens. Sometimes when we watch the news, we see about war, we see about chaos and crisis. We kind of feel that yes, it's happening, and especially when people from other parts of the world connect us and say to us, please help us, no? Because we really don't know what to do, how to enter, how to do this transition, guide us, no? And that is the mission of the school and maestros. They feel that they can guide this to make this transition very soft, very gentle, and also because it's people from Western world, many people who is awakening, that it's really like tired of all the media and all these fake things, or maybe sometimes it's pushing to them to feel very scared and sick, that people is searching for alternatives, and they are finding us, and probably they are searching for wisdom in other parts of the world, and that's why maestros, they feel that we are aligned. That's naturally aligned. It's like maestros, they are not exactly searching, and people is not also like, but it's a natural alienation that is happening, and it's very beautiful to see that. And you probably feel it, and I don't know what else to say, because it's something that it just happens in a beautiful way, naturally.
Yes, and I think a lot of people will resonate with this kind of feeling this moment, right, in different ways. This kind of, on one side, people really recognizing that we're in a moment of chaos and resistance, seeing that resistance and how that resistance also causes more chaos. And then also this feeling of, like you said, on the other side, of people saying, I don't want this. You know, how do I move out of this into a new way of being? How do I ground myself? How do I be more intentional in this moment. So I think, so it's more extreme in that chaos and the disruption that's described in the prophecy. And then I think the other half, the balance of that, is more people wanting to find a spiritual path, wanting to find a way that places like the Inca Medicine School and like you said, other teachers that people are just finding their way to, right? They know they're looking for something. They know they need a different way. And I do think it's that moment of alignment that you said, where people don't even necessarily know exactly what they're looking for. And the maestros and teachers and wisdom teachers they're not seeking a certain kind of person, but that people are finding their way. And I think that's what's hopeful about this moment. Lots of people I know, I work with a lot of people that are in stress, right? And in trauma. And so a lot of people are anxious in this moment. And I feel that, and I understand that. And I also feel really hopeful in this moment, because I see the beginning of what is described, what you talk about in the prophecy, is that new beginning, right? The turning over of the cycle into a new cycle. And that to me is exciting, and that to me is hopeful. And I think there are a lot more people every day that want to live into that idea. So I think that's really a beautiful thing. I wanted to, so a couple more questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about Pachamama, Mother Earth, and for Pacos in the Andes are so sacred and are such a deep part of the spirituality and of the tradition. But I think what I've also appreciated about the teaching is this idea that we also have to find our sacred places where we are, and the sacred places that are for us, right? So I think a lot of times people think, well, I find this tradition and all my sacred places have to be their sacred places now. And that may not be true. They may be sacred, but they may not be, there may be other places where we live, like the mountain or the river or the waterfall where you are, or the ocean. So I think what's beautiful about the tradition is sharing what is sacred from the lineage, and also how you find what is sacred for you. So if you could share a little about what is sacred, what are the sacred elements of nature that are from Pachamama that are important for Pacos and for the tradition, and then also how people find their own sacred places.
Yes, beautiful sister. The sacred places, it's very simple and basic. They are everywhere in nature, everywhere. They are not necessarily in the Himalayas or in the Andes, or yes, there are beautiful centers of energy, but they are not only here or in these places, no? Some people now is starting to realize, and they call it the chakras of the Pachamama, the earth, no? The chakras, like the energetical places. Yes, there are some of those, but there are other sacred places too in nature that everybody can go and meditate and recharge of energies, and also receive natural cleansing from there. And that can be like a very beautiful natural place in maybe a national park, a reserve, or a beautiful valley where there are no many like lots of city interferences of buildings and cars and pollution. And those clean places, naturally, they always are moving the energies, helping us to have beautiful energy and also clean naturally. So these places are everywhere. But for example, for meditations, if people wants to connect, give thanks to maybe a specific spirit, then it's much better to go to the lakes, lagoons, rivers, waterfalls, also the springs where the water is coming out, or caves that are going inside the earth. Those places are like special doors, and they are everywhere in the world. Also to trust in the ancient cultures from the past, no, like the maybe like Native American temples, or maybe in Europe to go to the very like the Celtic temples, or other cultures in India, in China. There is lots of wisdom there too, and we are sure that they know where to go. There are sacred places everywhere, no? And it's not exactly here or in these countries that they have lots of wisdom. They are everywhere in the world. Also, the natural phenomena of transition that are like bridges to connect with the sacred spirits from Hanahpacha or from the three dimensions are, for example, the lightning, where the lightning is falling, just receiving that rain from a very strong storm, or the moments when, for example, the moon is growing, is when it's starting to grow, or maybe it's the full moon. Those moments are special moments of transition, where these doors are a little bit more open and we can connect with the energies of other beautiful beings, as the sun, the moon, the stars, the Pleiades, the Orion, and also the rainbow. Well, with the rainbow, we have to be more careful. It's not good to go exactly receive the light of the rainbow. Here, we don't do that. It's not good. But when it's happening from far away, just to call the energies and receive the blessings, you know that we always work with reciprocity. So we give the quinto, that is a mini offering, is like a delicious meal for the spirits, and it's like the base is 3 coca leaves that we give to the spirit that we are going to meditate. No, for example, to the sun, I'm going to do a meditation of some minutes, and I give this quinto, and I send my intentions, my gratitude, because we always have to give and then receive. No? So we do this symbolic gift. We then bury it on the earth, and this is like how Pachamama is going to eat it, and it's going to chew it. Is going to be like, I'm going to send this to the sun, don't worry. And she's also enjoying. And then we are doing this cycle of giving and receiving. No, that is like the wisdom that here we practice. For us, it's not just praying, but it's like give and then we receive. No? So there are sacred places everywhere, and not only here. Yes, we have a beautiful landscape here with the mountains, and the mountains, yes, many people knows, I think cultures, they know that mountains, they attract naturally, because they are like pyramids, pointy pyramids of thousands of years receiving energy. And that's why we believe in the mountains, in the Apus, because we know that they are spirits with lots of energy, that they are also alive, and they are part of our family. So I'm sure this is not only from us, but I'm sure it's from Buddhism perspective, and probably other beautiful wisdom from other countries too. And that is how we connect with them. But it's not only here, it's everywhere in the world. No? And we always say that, no, to you, to the students, to please don't think that this is going to be only if you come to Peru and you receive here the teachings and the initiations, and then you are like more special and sacred. No, everything in the world, in the universe, is sacred. Everything, even the dark negativities, even those negativities are important to bring back the balance. So there is no hate, no like resistance, or no, everything deserves like thank you, even to the mistakes that they teach us. Thank you to the problems, because then we learn things, no? So then is everything more peaceful. There are not too much fears. There is an understanding of life and also death that is natural, is normal, is happening all the time. So then everybody's more relaxed and more strong. No? So if we see it from that perspective, that absolutely everything is important, necessary and sacred, then there are not too much psychological or also personal problems, no? Or even in the relationship with others, we are also more respectful. So that is something that if we can have that and in our minds and in our daily life, we can apply it, then excellent. That will be really, really good.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the reciprocity, this idea that, that a relationship with nature, with Pachamama, with the three dimensions, that that was always giving and receiving, right? That everything that we ask, we give first, that the Kintu, the 3-leaf offerings, which for people in the United States who can't get coca leaves, we use bay leaves. So you could use bay leaves just the same. And but this idea that I think it's a good practice just to get your brain and your spirit in the habit that everything I'm asking for, I give first, that offering to Mother Nature, that you to be in a place that feels sacred to you, or to find a place that feels sacred to you, and that you're not just there to receive. Oh, I want the energy, I want cleansing, but that you're saying thank you for letting me sit here. Thank you for letting me be present with you. And so that this idea of the 3 leaves offering, the Kintu, is just a reminder to us, I think, that we're saying thank you first, that I'm going to give you this, that I want to nourish you. And then, then maybe I will receive, something positive, some energy, some strength, some healing, some health. But I think it's a beautiful practice for people to learn how to get into, and the practice of finding sacred places everywhere. Like you said, we can have ideas. Oh, this is the most special place in the world. I have to go to this place, and only if I go to this place, can I do this practice, or can I experience this spirituality? But that it's everywhere. It's wherever we are, that we can find it where we are. And this idea that I think, when I started to learn about the 3 worlds, for me, it was so important learning about Ukupacha, and about the reciprocity of heavy energy. So what's called Hucha. This idea that even heavy energy, when we think, oh, these things that are so heavy, that feel so painful or traumatic, that they are bad, or that I'm bad because I'm holding on to them. But the idea of Ukupacha, the underworld, that it's a place that takes the heavy energy, takes the hucha, and transforms it, as you say, recycles it, right? And turns it back into something that can be useful in the world, that even those things we think of as the most difficult, most painful, different than different cosmologies that would say, oh, that's bad, or you're bad, or that goes somewhere bad and it's a terrible place, the underworld is a terrible place. It's this idea of that actually the underworld is a place of cleansing, and that once something is cleansed, then that energy can also be recycled and be reused. I think for me, was one of the most beautiful elements that I learned in the beginning about the Paqo path and about cleansing, because cleansing also as a healer was something that was very powerful for me, that this is a way to do cleansing in this tradition, having learned how to do it as a therapist. Oh, this is cleansing, but also that it's recycling, that nothing is useless. Everything has a purpose, even the things that we think are bad.
Exactly. And also understanding that it's everywhere. It's not that, and it's constantly moving. It's not also that it's going to stay in one person. Sometimes people is like, oh, this person is mean, I don't want to have anything to do with this person, and then rejection. But no, maybe these heavy energies are going to move to another person, and maybe one moment to you. And that doesn't mean that you are a bad person. Sometimes we are upset. Sometimes we are also like reacting, overreacting, and it's normal. And we don't have to be like feeling like it's me. No, it's not you. It's just that energies that are moving everywhere, and that's how it is. No, it's everything is moving, everything is changing, everything constantly is moving. So there is nothing like I am. No, so it's just your relationships. Everything in the Andean philosophy is also about relationships. We believe that God is in the relationships in between people, in between you and your pet, in between you and the sun, between you and your house, and everything, no? And if you live in a very beautiful, respectful relationship with everything, then everything will be in balance, no? So it's I'm explaining a little bit more about this hucha.
Yes, thank you. And then to close our time together, which thank you so much, because this is a very busy time of year to be talking to you. And I thought, because we're in June and we're at the end of June, and it's a very special time for the Pleiades, and it's a very busy time for Pacos. I was wondering if in closing, you could tell us a little bit about the specialness of the Pleiades and also this time of year, this season of ceremony and ritual.
Sure. Well, there is a tradition that is very typical from Q'eros, this community that is high in the mountains here in the Antisuyo or West. And this is is a moment where the Pacos and important authorities from the community, they go to a special mountain in this special date of the night of the 23rd of June to the 24th of June, where people is trying to see this phenomenon that happens in the Pleiades, in the 7 stars, where a little star is starting to show up. It's like they call it baby, the baby Koto. And if this star is gonna shine and it's gonna kind of move, the light is gonna be very bright, then it's a good year. And if the light is gonna be very like not moving and very not too bright, then means it's a bad year. And there, maestros, they meet, they do a special offering for this baby Koto for the new year that is coming. And people start asking wishes, and they spend all night there to try to ask to the Pleiades to give blessings for the town and for the world for the whole year, no? So that is what they celebrate. On the 21st, that is the solstice. There are not too much celebrations. They do an offering for the sun, but this is a way like to saying, please get closer, please come back, because in this time of the year here, the sun is far away from the earth. And that means that we are very exposed to the darkness, to the hucha. So it's a moment that actually people is kind of scared, and it's a moment of doing cleansings actually. So it's everybody's doing like incense in the houses and try to clean, because the sun is very far away, and the sun is for our planet Earth, or Pachamama, is the main source of the universal light. So that's why we have a special connection with the sun. The sun is like printed, or is the most important symbol in the textiles in the Andean cosmovision. The sun is very important, and this is not because they believe that the sun is God. No, they understand the sun like one little part of the enormous source of light that there is in the universe, a biggest light, no? So that is what mostly they celebrate on the 21st. It's not a celebration, it's an offering to saying, please, sun, come back every year, remember and protect us. And on the 24th or 23rd, for the Pleiades, for Mama Koto. And here in Cusco, well, because there are is the month of Cusco, that city, there are many activities, like very touristic activities. There is a parade, like also the Inti Raimi, but this is more like a theatrical is the presentation to show how to imagine how was the Incas time. But this is more like a theater. It's not a real ceremony, but it's very beautiful to see because you can imagine how was in those times. So many people come to visit Cusco in these times, and then the most busiest month for Maestro is going to be actually August. That is the month of the Pachamama, where Pachamama is kind of getting ready to be to receive the seeds for plantation. And Pachamama is like, I want to have the best nutrients, and I'm kind of hungry. And then people here, every family, even Catholic people, they follow this tradition, and they are like, yes, it's the time to give an offering to Pachamama. So everybody in the houses, in the gardens, or maybe in the mountains, they go and give, and they try to find a Paco available, a healer available to give this offering. And then this is for good luck for the whole year. It's like, Pachamama, I remember you, thank you, and my wishes are maybe to get married in this year, or maybe to have a baby, or maybe to have a house. Or they also have the opportunity to manifest the wishes to the spiritual world, and also with gratitude and love for what they have, no? And then the busiest month is August for maestros that is coming. Yeah, that's what I can share. Thank you, sister.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to know, just to close, if there's anything else that you want to share with people that are watching this in mostly the United States, people that might be interested in the Paco lineage and the tradition, anything that you just want to share with them in closing.
Yes, I would like to share that, because there are many questions about this, and I would like to clarify this, because many people ask, like, I am allowed to do this practice that is from this ethnicity or from this culture that I don't belong, that is not my ancestral line. And maestros, they are very clear about this, and they say we all are brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter which color of the skin or from where you are. At the end, you're born in this Pachamama, in this Mother Earth, and you are a son and daughter from the planet. No, so everybody, this wisdom is not only also from Peru or from the Andes. This is a wisdom from the planet, from Pachamama. This is like the intelligence from Pachamama that is just coming, and we are perceiving because we are more closer to nature. And I'm sure that other cultures, they also are like that. But here we have the possibility to kind of keep this way of living and to apply it. And then if people wants to learn, welcome, because it's going to be very helpful in order to bring back balance to their own communities. Because once you start to heal, to bring back the balance to people, and then to also help to people to be more live more in a holistic way, respecting nature, respecting spirits, respecting water, respecting other people, and then there will be also a balance in the community, because that is the main idea, not only to heal people, individuals, but heal the whole community. That is what have to come. And this tradition, especially in the Andes, they are keeping that, and they know how to do that. So we are hoping that if this is going to spread, there is going to be a time where people is going to be like, I'm very happy with my neighbors, with my family, with have good relationships with everything around me, and then keep going. No, so the wisdom is for everybody. It's not only for a particular down in the Andes, or it's gonna work only here. No, it's for everywhere, that where there is nature, and nature is everywhere. No, so it's a wisdom from Pachamama. So don't think that this is gonna be disrespectful if you are not from a bloodline, from a indigenous person. We don't see it from that perspective. Maybe other traditions they do, we respect, but we don't share that. We think and feel that everybody deserves to work, because also if we help you in the Western world, you are gonna help us. So it's gonna be reciprocity. So we cannot be like selfish or saying no. It's the time now to really help each other. And it's also not about to be also very like strict with certain things. Yes, we want to keep the tradition from the ancestors, but also we don't want to force or say no, you have to do it like this. We understand that this is a process. We cannot force to anybody. There is a time for everything. So this is not like also something that you have to do and you have to follow like in university. This is very, very natural. And when you feel the calling, it comes. If you don't feel it yet, maybe you need to learn some other things and then you will be ready for this. So everybody have to just feel the calling in the right time and don't force things to, no? So go slowly, especially with the spiritual path. That is also a suggestion for people in other countries, no? To go slowly, to really meditate and to try to interact more with the natives instead of just reading, because that's also one thing that in the Western world, they everybody learns from books, and not everything is in the book. The book is an interpretation from one person that have a beautiful dream and desire, and maybe it's not what it's real, no? So of course it's art, and it's a beautiful piece of art, but in reality, it's very beautiful to connect with real, authentic cultures, no? And now, thanks to internet, we have that opportunity, and that's what I would like to share. That try to search for the authentic indigenous to learn in different traditions too, no?
Thank you. I think that's an important reminder. One, to go where you feel drawn towards, and also not to push it, right? That not every season is the right season for everybody. And so listening to your own intuition about where you're being drawn or where you're being called, not where you think you're supposed to go or something you're supposed to learn, but what feels authentic and right to you. And that invitation, which I think is beautiful, the invitation that you are inviting people to come, that there's not a limit on who can join and who, if you feel drawn, that you can come. The invitation is there. So as the very last piece, I want people to know where to find you and where to find the Inca Medicine School. What's the best way for people, if they're interested and they want to learn more? Should they just go to the website? Do you want to give them any information about how to find you?
Thank you, sister. Yes, how you can find the school is through the website, that is Inca Medicine School.com, and you can find in the same way Inca Medicine School in Instagram or Facebook, and there is where you can find the dates from the workshops. There are different workshops for people who wants to be a healer, or people who just want to learn a short healing technique, or maybe they just want to hear the stories and of maestros and just talking about the wisdom, the Andean wisdom, and no more. And then we'll start to think about it, no? So and you can search us, find us there, and yeah, that's the way how you can find us.
That's beautiful. And I will share also with the video, I will share the link. And then I'll also share, because there's still the donation button right on the website too, if people want to just donate. So I will share that too, because if you watch this video, Beti has given her time, and I on behalf of the school. So if you want to donate, you can also just do that as well. So I'll share all that information along with the video.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister. Thank you so much for taking this time as you prepare. I mean, I know you've been busy all week. You're always busy. You're always working hard for the school and for the teachings. And so I appreciate you. And I appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. It's lots of work we have to do to put again the value of the indigenous people that now sadly is like not many people in Peru is not paying attention.
Yes, I think so. And I think, again, I think there are many people around the world in different places that part of this video is, I think there are people that would be more interested, but they just wouldn't even know where to look. So hopefully this is an introduction for people that want to know more. And then if they want to study more, they can continue on. As you said, you don't have to study to be a Paqo. You can just study to learn pieces of the tradition and the wisdom, you know, to be someone else who can carry those stories forward. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for the work that you do and the school does.
Thank you, Sister Teresa, and see you in another opportunity. Tupananchis Kama.
Pananchis Kama.